Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Social Theory. I am super excited about today's show because of the fact that this ties in with a real passion of mine and a group that I've had the privilege of connecting with a couple of times. The person that we have with us that I will introduce to you in just a moment is their social media leader, and she really has some incredible things that she can share with us today. So I'm super excited to introduce you to her. But before we get there, I want to remind you that this is an interactive show. So if you are watching right here on Google+, feel free to leave comments right below the video. We'll be bringing those into the show as we go on. And if you are watching this on the website, on Facebook, on Twitter, and any other medium, feel free to tweet your questions to #STShow. We're following that hashtag. We'll bring those in as well. My name is Thomas E. Hanna. I am your host, the founder of BlogPhoto.tv. And without further ado, let me introduce you to who we have today. This is Katie, who I tend to refer to as, I like to call her Katherine Fischer, but she corrected me. She let me know she is Katie. So I am going to work at getting that correct today, and you can join me in that as we welcome her to the show. Hello, Katie.
Hi, how are you?
Well, it is wonderful seeing you on. I know that over really almost a year now, I think it was June, when you and I first connected up at the Florida Blogging Conference, and you introduced me to this incredible organization that you now work for. And tell me a little bit about this amazing group.
Okay, well, I work for Harbor House of Central Florida, and we are a resource for survivors of domestic abuse. We take in women, children, sometimes men, though that's less typical, and their pets. So we have facilities. We have a 110-bed shelter. We have a kennel to welcome in their pets. We do legal advocacy, training for the community and for businesses in the area. And we kind of tackle all the different aspects of a survivor of domestic abuse finding safety and finding hope and healing and, you know, a new path to safety after leaving an abusive relationship.
Yeah, and I know that you guys have a wide spread in this stuff. I know Harbor House is larger than just Orlando, right? I mean, it's
throughout Central Florida. We actually have 13 locations. Our most recent one opened up in Bithlo to tackle more of the Hispanic population and tackling more of that. I mean, that's kind of a lower income area, so we're trying to hit more of those that have a higher rate of domestic abuse. So we're branching out into different areas of Central Florida.
And I love this stuff because when I was doing my graduate work, I spent time with a different organization, a group called Samaritan Village, that I helped develop a curriculum to help people recovering from that are survivors of sex trafficking.
Oh, okay.
So, and I know that you guys have a lot that you've done with that as well. So when I first heard about this was something that that strikes home to me because I have friends and people that I know, and I think many of us do. It's something that is not. It's almost like it's taboo to talk about.
It is.
But we all know people that have been impacted by this.
Right. There are so many people, even friends of mine that I talk to, that I work there, and well, first of all, so many people know about Harbor House more than I expected, because before getting hired on, I've never heard of it before. And when I started mentioning it to people, so many people have heard about it. And it affects so many people. Like, we will meet with somebody, even someone who's like a volunteer or something like that, and we think it's just, oh, they're helping out. But then we find out their background and their story. And it's like shocking how many people we found who've been affected by domestic abuse.
So how did you come then to be involved with Harbor House?
Well, I started out kind of oddly in film school. That was my passion, and I was just so into it. And I actually worked on a film about human trafficking, and but I always really liked the marketing side of film, and so I would, my main area, I guess, of expertise was social media. Like, I loved doing that. I loved connecting with people online. I loved coming up with like marketing campaigns and things like that. So when I graduated, I found Harbor House, and I had an opening for this new position. They actually created the position brand new, like no one's ever had it there before, but they saw a need for it in the development department because they just needed somebody to handle it since it's such a growing part of marketing now. So they created the position, interviewed me a year ago, actually, just a few days ago. I saw it on Time Hop, you know, where it says like a year ago what you posted. And it was like, oh, I just accepted my position with Harbor House. So that was a year ago. It's crazy. And yeah, I got the position, and I just like jumped right in. I had to learn. I mean, I had to learn Google Plus this position. I never used it before. So even things like this right here, like I've learned so much of this position. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and you guys have been so successful in really building a concept of community. Let's see, I've been able to participate in 2 of your events so far. One was the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event, which was hilarious, by the way.
Oh my
Love to
God,
talk
so
about that.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great one. And then before that, it was, let's see, it wasn't the Purple Purse. It was the,
It takes courage.
yes, thank you. It was the It Takes Courage event.
Mhm.
And on both of these, there has been such a huge turnout from the community that we've seen. We've seen the mayor there at both of them, I think.
Mhm.
The chief of police and the Orlando Police Department represented there. We've seen commissioners there. And we've seen major organizations, places like SeaWorld that have
Mhm.
really plugged in here. Places like Bank of America, I think it was.
Yeah, Bank of America is a huge supporter because we have a board member from Bank of America who works with us, and he's very active with Harbor House. He was actually the co-chair for Walk a Mile as well.
Oh, okay. Well, now how many people did you have at this Walk a Mile event?
This year, I think we had a little over 350 people join us for Walk a Mile. So it takes courage. Gosh, I cannot remember because we've done so much since then. But I think that was around 700. That's a bigger one because we're at 2 different locations for
Right.
that. We're at UCF and Valencia. So that's an even bigger one. And that one's mostly volunteers are joining us for that. Whereas Walk a Mile, we have like corporate teams, and we just have like individuals like coming together and forming teams with their friends and family. So that one's more kind of corporate based, where the other one's almost entirely volunteers.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm being told that my volume's a little bit low. Let me know if this is picking you up any better. I'm getting a comment from Dave that's telling me my volume's a little bit low, so I'm going to see if this hopefully picks us up a little bit better. But yeah, it was okay. So I was at that event, and it blew my mind because now this was a march, right? So we have everybody that gets together and just packs out the space before in front of the Orlando courthouse.
Mhm.
Your CEO speaks. The mayor speaks wearing red, high-heeled shoes,
Yes.
rolled up his jeans, right? Because he had like leggings underneath. Which so this is the mayor of Orlando wearing high-heeled shoes for the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, and then we have this march that walks for a mile, goes around Orlando,
Mhm.
it goes around downtown Orlando and ends up at the historic center. And
Mhm.
people aren't just coming out and walking. People are showing up and they're carrying signs and they're they're
A lot of
just super
them,
super plugged in. I'm sorry.
most of them, the teams actually also design their own T-shirts as well. And we had like a contest going where the best T-shirt design got an award, which was like a high heel on a big like wooden plaque. So yeah, like people got really into like signs, T-shirts, like everyone was blinging out their shoes. We even had a stand at the end where you could buy like blinged out shoes as well. We had like a designer come in and help us like really make them creative.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, people got really into it. The only bummer is I wish more like the policemen would have worn high heels because that would have been like so great. I would have loved that.
Yeah, they were. I remember they were giving the police chief a hard time because he was
Wow.
wearing his law enforcement
Uniform.
issued shoes.
That was a bummer.
Instead of
I know. Chief made
instead
him
of
wear
heels.
Kinbury and heels. I would have loved that.
That would have been nice. Now, okay, so one of the things that we talk about a lot in terms of blogging, in terms of social media and things like that, is the need to move beyond this concept of simply broadcasting and into this idea of community building. What are
Right.
some of the things that you've done in connection with Harbor House and connection with things here that have helped build such an incredibly devoted and vibrant community around this cause?
Well, a lot of times we find people just from just from our events. Like we'll connect with them and find ways to get them involved on our social media. Um, and it's great because I mean, I've never seen this in any company I work for, but just like the community on our social media that get involved. Like, well, for example, like great example, last week, our facilities team emailed me and said, like an emergency need, they needed an electric washer and dryer for a survivor who just was moving her family to a new location. They just found their home, and that was one of the things they really couldn't afford and needed for their home. So she was like, "Can you put a post out?" And you would think, "Oh, probably won't get anything," but we sent out a Facebook post and a tweet, and somebody responded to our tweet and said, "Hey, like I have an electric dryer that it's a little used, but I'm ready to like deliver it to you guys and donate it." And within like an hour of posting it, we found a dryer for somebody. Like that was we like really improved someone's life just through like a tweet, like things like that. It's like remarkable. And also through social media, like other ways that we've connected, like volunteers. We'll post different volunteer opportunities, and people will comment and then tag their friends, and everyone's like getting their groups together, like recruiting. Like I have a friend who works at Women of AT&T, and she'll just start tagging all of her coworkers and get them all involved for like the next event. Like they have teams way ahead of time for like Pause Walk and Walk a Mile and all of that. So it's just great to see like the community come together, and they're like getting each other involved with to volunteer or to donate items. Another big way we use social media is just um, it's another source of communication for survivors. If they don't have another safe way to talk or to communicate with us or to open up to us, so many times we've received like private messages through our Facebook, and they're telling us their story, and they're like they need help, and they're telling us these like horrific stories of what they've been through, and we like immediately connect them to an advocate and make sure they're getting safe. And a lot of times they don't have another safe outlet, so they go to Facebook or they'll go to like a Twitter message or something like that to connect with us. So it's pretty remarkable, like the different ways we've been able to help people.
I hadn't even, that's something I hadn't even considered that because I'd thought about the ways that social media helps bring awareness to an issue, and the way that when we have events that bring awareness, and the events that you guys have put on are so fantastic in raising awareness because they're so creative and um, they're so visual that you wind up just being swarmed. I've seen both events that I was at. You're just swarmed with media, newspapers,
Oh
news
yeah.
stations, things
Oh
like
my
that.
God.
But I hadn't considered the fact that social media provides a safe outlet for people to be able to reach out and make connections that they wouldn't otherwise be able to make because I mean one of the things with domestic violence, with domestic abuse, is that it's isolating and they work hard to be isolating. The abusers tend to limit all of the options that you have to be able to reach out and make connections with other people.
Exactly. And a lot of times, like their phones, everything is being monitored. Like we've had people who've gone to like libraries and things just to find a way to like quickly send a message or, some way where they'll go out into the public and find a way to talk to us. And a lot of times it is social media. I mean, it's not all the time, but like every 2 months I'll get a message from somebody, and it's like a really long message about what they've been through and they need help. And so we immediately connect them with somebody and like find a way to get them safe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's yeah, I mean, I never even considered that too before this job, like, how valuable social media can be, even in saving a life, like beyond just, posting a status or something like that, like actually communicating directly with people one-on-one through messages to try to help them.
Now, do you guys do things to, because I know that you do a ton that helps build communities, on the ground, and that you use social media to connect with that. Do you do much in terms of building sort of a social buzz around events, or leveraging social media in terms of connecting in with awareness, or what are some of the things that you do that allow just regular folks
Hmm.
to get connected in with social media happenings in ways that can help, make a difference in this area?
Okay. Well, normally before events, what we'll do is we'll hit social media hard. Like we are on, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Google Plus. So we just start kind of, tackling all of them and start like slowly, like 6 to 8 weeks out, we'll start generating buzz and start really talking about it and get people involved. Tell them, like slowly, like release details about the event, like raffle items, like start your teams. You can bring your pets to certain events and things like that. So we definitely, start the buzz early and we keep it going throughout. We have a database for our email contacts. Like we send out e-blasts probably about once a week, and we have 11,000 people in our database. So we'll send out like regular e-blasts talking about the event, talking about all the fun things that they can get involved in. Like for example, this week we're promoting our pause walk, so we are releasing this e-blast like meet the top dogs. So we have like a coach, like a dog who's a co-chair of the event. We have one returning for this year, and then we have one who's like a therapy dog who's going to be part of the event as well. So we'll do like fun e-blasts to get people involved. It's not just like we're blasting information at you. We want to like let you know that it's fun and like how you can get involved and how you can bring your pets or or create a team. So we'll do different things like that. Social media, e-blasts. I mean, we have people in our staff who just go out and start talking to people, like doing media interviews. I mean, it's Carol and Michelle especially. Carol Wick is our CEO and Michelle Palmer is our Chief Development Officer. They go out and do all the media interviews and start getting like the really heavy buzz about it. So that's typically how we do it. I'm trying to think of other ways. I mean, I feel like we do so much. Before events, it's like crazy. It's like Mach 5 for a couple of weeks out of an event. It's crazy. But
well, and the challenge with a lot of this is that because, as we mentioned earlier, this is something that we all kind of tend to be aware that it happens, but it happens over there, right? So it's not something that we like to really, so it's not something that we like to talk about because that's just sort of taboo. So what can we do? What can we do? Those of us who are on social media, those of us who are looking to, increase our use of social media and find ways that social media can be used to really make a difference. What are some of the things that we can do to help raise awareness about this and get the word out and improve the conversation that takes place around these things?
Well, I mean, one of the best ways is to share our content, not to But I mean,
yes.
No, but really, I mean, that is one way to get a lot of the information out. We always have Facebook events surrounding our events, and joining those, and just let me think, ways to get people more involved in the conversation. I mean, another way is if you're a person not even just for Harbor House, but in general, if you're passionate about an organization, you should find out what volunteer opportunities they have available and start posting about it and recruiting your friends and getting them involved, or events too. That's always a great way, because people get really amped for events. If they can get teams together and get their friends and their family or their coworkers involved in something together, they get really passionate about it. And that's not just for us. That's anybody, any organization who has events, has opportunities available that you can really get involved. Just start talking about it. Tell your friends about it. Like I said, post about volunteer opportunities. Just find ways to get involved, not just for yourself, but getting your friends involved, I think, makes it even more fun. Just seeing the teams who come out for some of our events, it is they get so into it, and they just all look like they're having so much fun, So that's a great way. Trying to think.
Well, and I think it's fair to say that people get really amped up about causes, I mean, we like to know that the things that we're doing are beneficial. And when people begin, and this is part of the reason, I mean, let's be honest, part of the reason that companies decide that, hey, we're going to get really involved with such and such a nonprofit or such and such a cause is because, that makes the company look really good. We look really socially minded now because we're plugging. And part of that is because people relate with that. They relate with the desire to combat human suffering. And so when we're sharing things and we're getting involved with stuff, not only does that does that have an impact on us and who we are and the way that we're shaped and the just the way that we become aware of what's going on in the world and our interaction with that, but it galvanizes other people to want to be involved with that. I love Michael Thomas had a great comment over here. I like what he has to say. He says he can completely relate to your comment earlier about donating time. He says that he donates some of his spare time to various community kitchens here in Indiana, and like a sponge, they and I learn from each other. And I think that ties back into some of what you were saying. That there's sort of this mutual thing that happens where we benefit from each other when we get connected.
Absolutely. One of my favorite things is when groups come in and like kind of like play and like start like activity days with the kids on campus, because we have, I mean, a majority of the survivors on our campus are children. So, for example, Central Florida Women's League is an organization we partner with a lot, and they just hosted this circus carnival day for the kids, like we're all on spring break. So they're, just kind of like don't really have much to do when they're not in school, and they don't really have their friends surrounding them all the time, and they're kind of in this safe area, so they can't always just reach out and go hang out with their friends. So what we did was host a carnival day, and we had like magicians come out, and we had clowns. We had like a bouncy house, like crafts, snacks. They helped make goodie bags, and like Central Florida Women's League, they helped put this whole thing on. And they just had like a blast, just going outside and playing together. We took tons of photos. We posted an album about it recently if you wanted to like check out photos. But we do that every so often. We'll have like a big day for the kids. I know Bank of America comes out a lot, and they'll have like a movie night with popcorn and pizza, and have like a little party for them. And I mean, they just love it, and it's so great. Like, we'll be across the hall, like at our desk working, and we'll hear the kids like laughing next door and like having a good time. So
Bank of America has a huge showing, and I've seen it all of those. But SeaWorld is also really plugged in. You had, in fact, I don't know, this was a few months ago, I think, but you actually did like you're part of a photo shoot for Harbor House. It was at SeaWorld where you were playing with the penguins.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was really fun. That was part of our Purple Purse Challenge that CT Social helped with. They did a phenomenal job. Yeah, we got one of our board members, Tony Cariciolo, always struggle like pronouncing her name. So she's one of our board members, and she allowed us to come out into their penguin area. I don't know what it's called, but we got to like play with them, and like, I mean, not really play with them, but we get to like pet them and like take photos with them, which was so cool. Because I don't think like anybody gets to get like that close to them, right? I haven't gotten to see one.
I think it's very atypical. I think you have to have the connections.
Yeah.
To get in. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I was also thinking another great way to get involved is starting a fundraiser. That's a great way, just starting one online. Like many organizations, like we offer it as well, but many do. A way to like go on their websites and start your own fundraiser. It doesn't have to be just like a 5K or something like that. Like, we offer opportunities to donate your birthday. So instead of receiving gifts, ask your friends to make a donation to Harbor House. Or a great one, we just found this out online. There's this local photography company who they specialize in pinup photos actually, but they're doing a bearded pinup calendar of all these like men with like these beefy beards, like doing like pinup like poses or whatever, and they're creating this like calendar for the year, and they're donating all the profits to Harbor House. And we thought like that is so like funny and creative and different, and like what a like great way to like support an organization while doing what you love, like doing photography. You know what I mean?
So that's hilarious, by the way. That's such a great.
You just stumbled upon that.
We need to get Jeff C in that calendar. Is what we need to do.
Yeah, it's like, and we only found out about that because they tagged us on Facebook. A lot of times we don't even know it. We'll just get a check in the mail. But like finding out about all these like crazy fundraisers is so much fun. Oh my gosh, that one was great. And we just found out about that like last week, and I was like, we have to like learn more about this immediately.
So. And this brings up a really great point, because you're not talking about things like these fundraisers you're mentioning. You're not talking about things that you or Harbor House themselves initiated. This is the result of all of the investment that you put into community building, into making connections with organizations, into establishing relationships with the leaders in your area, and really cultivating these, have led to other organizations taking independent initiatives
Yeah.
to put together creative things in order to raise funds for Harbor House in this battle against domestic violence.
Absolutely. We get, they're called third-party funders. There's anyone outside of our organization who has the funders for us. We get them all the time, and I manage those relationships, and I manage all those fundraisers that come in. And we get like a couple every week almost of people hosting food drives or bearded pinup calendars or, you know, whatever they're doing, like all these different things. Lemonade stands. During the summer, we host a campaign called Lemonade Days, and people go out and start their own little lemonade stands with their kids in their community, and then they donate the proceeds to Harbor House. Like, there's so many different ways. Another thing, what is it? Like, people donate their weddings, and instead of receiving wedding gifts, they'll donate their gifts to us. Yeah, there's so many ways, and people find like such creative outlets in order to help out, more than just the basic, like just donating or, you know, things like that.
Part of the reason why I say that's such a big deal is not just because you know, there are these really creative, great things, and because it raises money, but one of the driving points in any organization, particularly when you're dealing with social media and community building, is where you reach this point where you have developed a fan base or a following where people decide to take initiative in promoting your stuff. So it's no longer just your solo efforts. You have made such a connection that people want to, of their own volition, become a part of something bigger than themselves, and that's a sign of an organization that really has sort of passed this tier in building that community.
Absolutely. Yeah, so many people come to us without us even asking. And you know what? They're not always trying to, you know, get recognition for it. They'll just, you know, like send in the check, and they'll just do their own thing and do it completely on their own. Like, many people just come up with crazy ideas, and they'll come to us. And yeah, it's remarkable how many members of our community want to help, and, you know, we don't have to ask anyone to do it. They come to us, and they want to do it completely on their own volition, and it's really inspiring, honestly, because I haven't, you know, seen such a like supportive community. And like you said, like Bank of America is really big. Even Orlando City Soccer right now, they're doing a lot for us as well. So
in fact, on the Walk a Mile event, wasn't it Orlando City Soccer that was the organization that raised the most amount of money for that fundraiser?
Absolutely, they were, and that was amazing too. Yeah, they raised the most money, so they got the really big red blinged out heel shoe award. They got to take that home.
Which was amazing.
Yeah, that was amazing. I even wanted that. I wanted to take that home. I think I
wanted to wear that. Come on.
I would wear that. But they were pretty nice. The other one was though. So yeah, we only had the one, but yeah, I think they raised 3,100, a little bit more than that. Yeah, and it was the team that raised the most, which is great. So.
Which is awesome. And in fact, we're going to come right back to that here in just a moment, because I know that there are some really, really cool things right now happening with Harbor House, and some very simple ways that those of us who are watching can actually plug in and get involved and really make a difference very easily. So we're going to talk about that in just a moment, but right now, we are now, according to my big green social theory clock, we are at the halfway point in the show, and do you know what that means, Katie Fischer?
I do know what that means.
That means it's time for this or that. Well, this is the part of our show where we get to know our social media leaders just a little bit better by asking them a series of 4 would you rather questions. These questions come from my trusty Would You Rather deck, and they span 4 different categories. The first category is fear or discomfort. The second is appearance or embarrassment. The third is ethics or intellect. And the fourth is a random category. And you, Katie Fischer, have to choose this or that and tell us why. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
All right. Random draw.
Uh,
Okay. Here we go. Question number 1. Would you rather take a bumpy 2-mile ride sitting wedged with your feet hanging out in the main compartment of a small metal shopping cart? That's not detailed enough.
that is so deep.
Or take a 25-mile ride in the empty but rotating bin of a cement truck. So it's 2-mile ride in a wedged main compartment of a small metal shopping cart, or a 25-mile ride in the empty but rotating bin of a cement truck.
The cement trunk is like way worse in every way. I can't imagine being tossed around. That sounds miserable. I can't even go on a roller coaster, so no. I would definitely pick the first one. I don't mind being.
I had this image of you, Katie, being inside the rotating cement truck, just like running like a like a hamster on a wheel for 2 miles as you.
If I could
You
manage
just want to make sure you don't wipe out.
that, there's no way. That sounds miserable. Oh my gosh. I would be just being tossed around. Oh my gosh, that sounds awful. No, pushy car all the way, all the way.
And then you'd have to explain that conversation at Harbor House the next day, right? No, look, I swear I fell.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I know. Actually, it's kind of funny. If you even, and I've experienced this personally, Carol's very noticeable of her staff, because they obviously, like, we have such a caring organization, and they treat our staff so well. So if you come in with even, like, a little bruise on your arm, they'll be like, are you okay? Like, did anything happen? You know, like, not all the time, but I remember once I came in to a press conference, and Carol was there, and I had, like, some bruises on my arm from something. I don't even remember. And she was like, is everything okay at home? And I'm like, yeah, everything's fine, I promise. But it's nice to know they care, and they're always looking out for us. That's really good to know, but yeah.
Oh, but I could imagine after a ride in a cement truck, that would be an.
Oh, yeah. I'd be all banged up. That's awful.
Yeah, all right. Question number 2. Would you rather be born with an elephant trunk or a giraffe neck?
Giraffe neck. Because that sounds miserable. I don't know.
The elephant trunk.
Yeah, I would much.
You could like throw it over your shoulder like at the Moss Isley Cantina, you know?
No, that sounds awful. And I feel like I already have kind of a giraffe neck. My neck is so long as it is.
You have a long neck. I don't know if you can quite reach the foliage.
Probably not, but yeah.
All right, question number 3. Would you rather, for the rest of your life, have the power of Superman for 1 day per year, or have the power of the President of the United States every day for the rest of your life?
I think I would choose Superman. Because, I mean...
1 day a year.
Yeah, 1 day a year. That's what I look forward to every year. And I would plan out in advance, like, all the cool things I want to do. And, I mean, the power of the President, I mean, that's cool, but I wouldn't want to do that. That's too stressful.
Here would be my fear. If I were Superman for 1 day a year, what would happen is that day I would like tick off all the worst criminals, right? And then the day after they'd come after me.
That'd be awful. I would just want to fly everywhere. Are you kidding? I would just want to like fly to like Greece or something. I don't even care about the villains.
Like, I can change the world, but no, I want to go to Hawaii.
Yeah, I mean, why not? All of the benefits of Superman. I mean.
Excellent. I'm with you. All right, last question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Question number 4. Would you rather come home to find that a prankster has nailed all your windows shut or has taken the labels off all of your canned goods?
Oh my gosh. That is a good question. Probably the canned goods because they're super cheap, and I mean, I could either replace them or play a gambling game every time I want food. And just unnailing all my windows, oh my god. I would need like someone to come in and do that for me because I'm not about to do that. I'll take the risk factor with the canned goods, 100%.
Yeah. Or just donate all the canned goods.
Or that, yeah. Oh my
I'm
god,
gonna donate them to Harbor House.
yeah. And good luck finding out what's inside them.
All right. Well, this has been This or That, and I think we all know Katie just a little bit better. All right, that was fun. Okay, so let's dive back into some of this here. Now I know because I'm on the inside scoop that there is a very exciting development of late with Harbor House. Would you like to share with us what that is?
Are you talking about the campaign, the cause and effect campaign, which is the
I am. Do
Okay.
tell us about the cause and effect campaign.
Okay, well, it's this really cool campaign hosted by a couple of different marketing agencies throughout Central Florida called Bubbled It, Prismatic, and the third one, I'm struggling, Southern Strategic Partners LLC, something like that. And it's these three like really cutting edge marketing agencies in the area, and they're doing this big campaign where they're going to donate $20,000 in free marketing, advocacy, and infographics to one top voted organization in the area. So we found out about it in January and just started, going at the votes, like getting people to vote for us so we could get in the top five, and then the top five go on to a second tier of voting, which ends April 10th, and then they announce in May. So we were lucky enough to be in the top 10 top voted organizations, and we found out March 13th. And so now voting is now open until April 10th, so there's about 10 more days left where you can vote for Harbor House and help us become a top voted organization. We'll win $20,000 in free marketing so we can increase our reach, to get infographic materials to hand out could last way beyond the year even. Like we could use materials for years to come. And that money would go to great use in really helping more survivors learn about our organization, our resources, and get them to come to us if they're in need. So it's really easy. I know you posted a link about it, and you can just you literally just click Harbor House, type in your email, and click vote. It takes 30 seconds max. And it will
and we can put that comment, that link in the comments here right at the end as well. Make sure we get there. But this is, this was kind of exciting because this wasn't just like there's a few nonprofits out there. There were 228 nonprofits that were nominated for this. And you made the vote to make the cut to the top 10, and now you have made the vote to the top 5 and are in the very last stages of, if you make this last one here, you are the winning agency for $20,000 in marketing and advocacy that goes directly towards helping bring awareness to domestic violence, helping to provide for the survivors of domestic abuse, and bringing them out of those situations and getting them situated so they can be able to carry this forward, because that transition's a rough one.
Oh, absolutely.
And the promotion that allows people to come to you.
Right, exactly. I mean, it would affect all facets of the organization, really. We could promote, because we have so many different departments. We have our community education, the kennel facilities, the children's services. So it could affect so many different facets of the whole transitional process. Yeah, and I don't want to be heavily oh, we made the top 5. I was freaking out when I found out we made it to the top 5, especially considering we're up against so many organizations. So now it's really heated. We're hoping. We're against 4 others, and we're hoping we can, come out as number 1 and win. It's unfortunate though, because the voting ends April 10th, but they don't let us know until May 13th who won. So it's there's a month of just sitting on the edge of the seat wondering if we made it. But yeah. But we encourage. No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying. So that's That's incredibly exciting because what you guys do spans so many different places. Because you have your Purple Purse campaign that you had. Now that's focused on helping empower women who are survivors of domestic abuse,
Mm-hmm.
helping to promote them, helping to allow them to gain economic viability. Because part of domestic abuse is that we're going to strip down your economic resources so that I can have complete control over you. Not me. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just to clarify. So being able to empower women so that they can reclaim their economic viability so that they're not economically dependent upon one that keeps them trapped into an abusive situation.
Right.
You have ways that you provide for the children of abuse survivors,
Mm-hmm.
including school things and education things and ongoing like counseling type stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have tutors come in. We have daycare. We offer so many like services in the child care building that kind of encompass all the facets of like helping them grow and learn from a young age. And in terms of economic empowerment, I know we have like different services to help women, even like down to the basics, like how to write a check, how to open up a credit card, or things like that. Like we, help
Mm-hmm.
the basics to like like stock options and things like that, whatever they're interested in, like we help them learn and grow and like open up different resources for them because a lot of them are stripped of their economic power basically, like of their purses. They have no longer control of their own purses, which is like crazy.
Well, yeah,
So
and the just the psychological impact of that in many cases this is about stripping people even of their identity where they are convinced they've normalized this situation to the point where when things go bad, they
uh-huh.
blame for it, and they view it that way. And a lot of times the family structures that you think would be the ones, parents and others that you think would be the ones that would come in and try to help you out of this,
Mm.
in many circumstances are people that reinforce this concept that if you just keep your mouth shut,
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
that type of garbage.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's horrible. Like, and there's women. I mean, not there's like parents and family who are defending the abuser. They don't realize what goes beyond closed doors, and they don't realize how stripped of power um, their own children can become in these relationships, and it's like it's unbelievable. So.
So economic,
Mm-hmm.
counseling and the psychological,
Mm-hmm.
family and helping with children.
Mm-hmm.
You also help with the physical needs, both in terms of providing food and needs like that, but also in terms of your shelters, your top secret shelter bunkers, right? That nobody knows where they are, but people are there, and that's able to help get them out of harm's way and also provide a safe place that is protected while they go through this transition period.
Absolutely. We also do legal advocacy. We have like a public room in the court in the Orange County Courthouse, and we like publicly announce like the address there in the room for survivors to go and receive like legal advocacy and get injunctions, or even if they need an advocate to be in court with them at the hearings and things like that. So we cover the legal aspect as well and help them navigate the whole justice system. Because if you imagine you're leaving an abusive situation, you want protection from your abuser, like even getting started with that is such a complicated process. So we help them, navigate that whole, tricky world, and get them through it. So it's another way we help as well. And then there's the panel, of course, which is my favorite part.
Right, and that was what I was going to ask. That was going to be the last one I was going to come to because this one here, particularly, I think is particularly interesting because that's an area that I don't really know of many other agencies that deal with, but that's a huge control point, right? So tell us a little bit about why you do that, and why do you have kennels? Why do you have such a big focus on the pets and getting the pets out of the situation as well? Most people don't think about that.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's many statistics about it, but animal abuse is one of the main barriers, like pets in general are a main barrier preventing most people from leaving an abusive situation because, I mean, you think about it, like if you're going to leave your home and move away, you want to bring your pet with you. They're just as much part of your family as even your children sometimes, you know, like you don't want to leave them behind. So a lot of people stay in these abusive homes because they cannot leave their pet behind, and only 3% of domestic abuse shelters nationwide have a kennel option and have a way for people to bring their pets. And because that number is so low, many people end up staying there in these horrible situations to protect their pets. So we offer a kennel to break down that barrier and offer a way for them to bring the whole family with them. Um, I'm not sure how many we house in our kennel. I'd have to find that out. But we have a huge kennel. We have a place for dogs, cats, we even accept like we call them like pocket pets, like gerbils or like turtle. I think we've had turtles before, like a lot of the smaller animals as well. And we have a big like outdoor area for the dogs to run out and play. And survivors can go down to the kennel and they can feed their own pets, take them out for walks, do whatever they want, like as if they were at home themselves. Like we're not like controlling of it. We let them make all the decisions with their pets. Um, Right now, we have almost a full kennel with dogs, especially. Like I was just in there the other day, and we had like all of the cages were full of like I mean, each one had their own dog in it basically, and then we have some cats in right now as well. We have like the little cat condos where the cats can go up and play. We have an outdoor like screened-in porch area for them to go play as well, so they can kind of get some fresh air. In the kennel, we also I thought this was pretty cool. We have that we play like soft classical music and like lavender in the air, like to calm them down and keep them at peace. Because they come from such a stressed out home and situation that these animals are brought into this new environment and they're scared. So we want them to be as calm and relaxed and as possible. And we don't let like tons of people like we're giving tours and stuff. We don't like bring them close to the animals because we don't want to like traumatize them with more strange faces. Um, so we try to like keep others away from it, but we have the survivors and our facilities to be able to go and take care of them. And we have a vet come in every month and they give them all the shots they need and make sure they're like up to date on everything and that they're healthy. So I mean the kennel is a big part of what we do, and it's one of my favorite parts of the place. Like I love the kennel, just because I'm an animal lover.
Yeah, I join you in that. I'm an animal lover as well. Now, I want to just recap a little bit on just what we just covered in terms of what you guys do, but I want to say that I want to do that for a particular reason because I think a lot of the things that we just talked about, most people are not aware of. They're not aware of all these different avenues, all these different aspects to domestic violence, the way that these things actually impact people, and what the real barriers are. Because there's this concept of if you're just, you know what, if you're just strong enough,
Yeah.
and so it's a way of victimizing survivors, right? Because it becomes about weakness rather than, and that's not the reality of it at all. There are very real barriers that prevent sometimes being able to for survivors to get out of these situations.
Right.
And part of the reason that we don't know about those is because people aren't talking about them. And so when we talk about the power of social change, which is sort of what all this is about, and what I know you have been so successful at doing with Harbor House, a huge component of that is to say, look, we need to have avenues where these type of things are discussed, where they're able to be brought out into the open, where the awareness is there that this is more than just saying get out of the situation. This is about creating areas where you can get where those control points are broken, because here's what we've mentioned. People in abuse situations are controlled economically. They're stripped of their economic power, and if they step out of that situation, they now all of a sudden lose their ability to provide for themselves because they have no access to their funds or anything else, and you're working to overcome that. There is the psychological barrier, where part of the control is to strip the person down, where it becomes their fault. If they just try harder, then maybe this won't happen, and it ultimately becomes about victimizing them.
Right.
You talked about the children. How are we going to take care of how are we going to take care of the kids and help the kids get through this? Because if if I'm a mother and I leave, I can't leave my kids behind, but now I don't have any place to bring them, which brings you to the physical location. If I go, where am I going to go? There's things that I can't do, so you provide those physical, and then there are the pets as well. I have a dog, a cat. I know that if I leave those in an abuse situation, and I leave, that abuser is going to take all of that violence out on my pet, and because this is my pet, I feel a very real and very justifiable need to protect that pet, and I can't just leave them behind. So all of these become control points.
Yes.
That have to be broken. And Harbor House is doing a fantastic job at providing ways to deal with all of these different areas, but we need to be able to be discussing them, more, so that people become aware of it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've dealt with this, Katie, but I'll tell you, one of the things that drives me up the wall a little bit is where you get certain people that have never experienced this, never dealt with people that have experienced this, who like to say things like, well, if a man ever laid his hand on me, we would be like there's such a disconnect between the reality of what those abusive situations are. Have you dealt with that, and how have you addressed some of that when that comes up?
Absolutely, and also a lot of women or not even just women, but people in general, like, why doesn't she just leave? And they don't realize all the factors that come into play that we just talked about, like pets and economic disconnect and all of these different things that people don't realize. How many barriers there are to leaving. It's not just simply picking up and you pack up your bags and you're gone. Like, you're connected, you're grounded into these homes, and even though they're abusive, it's not so easy to just pick up and leave. So what we try to do is to raise awareness about that. We try to tell, get out into the media, different ways to help women break out of these situations. I know, for example, like Carol was out in the media talking about ways to get more to pass there's like a new bill being pushed in Central Florida to help more.
And Carol is the CEO of Harbor House.
Yes, sorry, I should have mentioned that. And there's a new bill being pushed to get more kennels out there in domestic abuse shelters. So it's different things like that. Like, we'll get out there and try to target ways to break down these different barriers, and just to get people to start talking about it and realizing, educating the community basically on all of these barriers. And I know we have a community education department, and they go out and actually train businesses on our Triple R training, which is recognize, respond, and refer. And what that means is recognizing signs of domestic abuse, responding effectively, and referring them to an appropriate shelter or whatever kind of service they might need. So we're doing things like targeting businesses, or we have a free community training the first Tuesday of every month, where people come together and on their own volition, come to our free trainings and learn the signs of domestic abuse so they can actively prevent it from happening in their own homes or in their own communities. And then for businesses, protect their employees or different coworkers or management from being affected by domestic abuse. And but the most important thing is learning the signs of it so that they can prevent it from happening. And I know another thing our legal department is working on is training the 911 callers or recipients.
You had mentioned this. They're training the people out in Tampa right now, aren't they?
I think so. I'm not sure what area it's in, but I know they're working on training them to ask questions that are also relevant to domestic abuse so that they can properly help them, I guess, is the best way to say it. Training them to also be sensitive to domestic abuse situations so that they can figure out what's going on at home.
And the reason for that, if I'm remembering correctly, is because you wind up in situations where somebody calls for help, but then the abuser winds up in within earshot or coming in within earshot, and so they can't tell you what is going on directly because that will be overheard, and that becomes a trigger point, and now we're in a violent situation and things are really bad. So they have to try to create ways that the operator, now an operator, has to be able to clue in to some of this weird code speak that sort of is going on, to be able to ask specific questions that they can give yes or no or general answers to in order to communicate what's going on without tipping off the person listening on the other end of the phone call.
Hmm. Absolutely. There's actually a commercial during the Super Bowl this year that was kind of touching on that, where there was a woman in like empty house, and or the abuser was in the room with her. You can only hear the voiceover of it, and this like destroyed home. And she's on the phone with the 911, with 911, and she's like pretending to order a pizza because her abuser's in the room with her, and she has to pretend to order a pizza. And the 911 caller was just like kind of confused. And then they would be like, "Is someone in the room with you?" And then she'd be like, "Yes." And like that was part of like the pizza order delivery question. And
Mm-hmm.
when they ask yes or no questions, they're able to really get to the core of what the issue is and can respond effectively. Because otherwise, like I mean, it's so easy for them to get nowhere, and then they think, "Oh, this is just a different color or whatever. But like I mean, and the pizza delivery case that commercial was kind of based on a real case that happened. So it's like amazing some of the stuff that people go through
Well,
to
and
get help.
it's and yeah, and I think that's important. I mean, in fact, correct me if I'm wrong in this. I know we're drawing near the end of our time, but you guys are based out of Orlando, and is it
Mhm.
true? I believe this was the information that was given to me, but Orlando is now leading the nation in terms of response to or dealing with the issue of domestic violence. Is
I
that
think so. I'm not sure on the statistics of that. I'd have to find out. But I know we're doing a lot. Like, I mean, I feel like we're encompassing so much right now, and they're like Carol Wick, our CEO, is like constantly out in the media, driving different forces and different campaigns to help. I'm not sure for the leader, but I wouldn't be surprised considering how much buzz. I mean, if you like watch the news, I feel like there's a lot of buzz around domestic abuse right now because it's becoming a more and more talked about subject here. So I wouldn't be
yeah?
surprised. Yeah.
Locally there it is, and I think we need to expand that. But yeah, I remember chief of police at the last event that we were at was in it was either him or the mayor, I think, that was talking, that was commenting on the fact that they are now statistically one of the national leaders in response to that, which is really exciting. That's I mean, it's not exciting that that's happening, but the fact that that response is
Yeah.
taking place to that level is a good thing.
Right.
So I know we're drawing near the end of our time here. Tell us where we can get connected with you, Katie, and where we can get connected in with Harbor House and the things that are going on there.
Okay, well, our website is harborhousefl.com. That's where we have a wealth of information about like all of the services that we offer. We have like contact information for a lot of our departments there. That's also the source where you can start your own, creative fund fundraiser, or you can donate. That's kind of where the wealth of information would be. It would be our website, which is harborhousefl.com. And like I said, we're on pretty much all the social media platforms, all the major ones. And that you just search Harbor House of Central Florida, and we're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Google Plus, and Instagram. And our handle for Twitter and Instagram is Harbor House FL. And we're pretty active on all of them. So, searching us on all of those venues would be great. On our website, I'm trying to think what else. And I mean, just my email if you guys want my email, so email me directly if you have questions. I don't know if you want to post that, but it's Fischer at Harbor.
I'll leave that up to you if you want to. Just
Yeah.
go ahead and leave that as a comment then in the uh, in the comments. I was like trying to go with a fancy other word for it. It wasn't working. Yeah, just leave them there in the comments on the Go Plus page, and people can connect in with that. And I think that would be great. And I'll tell you, to all the people here, I think Bill Graham made a great comment. He was talking about we were discussing the pets. He says it was a great insight thinking about the pets. I never thought of that when trying to figure out why people stay in a bad situation. And that's part of the reason, Bill. That's part of the reason why I love what Harbor House is doing is they don't stand outside and try to guess at what's going on. They've been doing this since I think what the 70s.
Yeah,
Is
we're
that when
going
they were
to
founded?
our 40th year actually.
You're in
So
your
yeah.
40th year, yeah. Because people that are now leading in there are in some of them are people that came through Harbor House. Harbor House, in fact, and now they're leaders with the organization. Um, so they're dealing with the reality of what is actually going on, and so it's no longer a matter of, well, let me try to guess and create these things. It is, we're dealing with the real people, we're knowing what their real needs are, we're providing real answers, which is why we dealt with all those 5 barriers. So here's my call to action for everybody. I would love to connect with you. My name is Thomas E. Hanna. You can connect with me right here in Google Plus or at BlogPhoto.tv. You can also find me on Twitter at BlogPhoto.tv. But here's what I want you to do. In the description, you are going to see a link near the bottom where you can vote for what Harbor House has going on in this the Connect Exchange. What is Change Exchange?
It's
Change Exchange.
the campaign is called Cause and Effect. Is that what you're talking about?
Cause and Effect. How did I come up with Change Exchange?
I was like, what are you talking
So
about?
close.
Yeah, you're close.
I'm brilliant. I embrace it. Cause and Effect. But you're going to find a link right here in the event description to the Cause and Effect campaign. And I would encourage you to connect up with Harbor House, learn about what they have going on, and then hop over to that link and vote for them. They're in the top 5. If they are the one that comes out on this, that's a ton of marketing for something that we know is really working and really having an impact here in this area and is now expanding. So that's the first thing, is go and vote. The second thing, though, is be open to sharing content that deals with domestic violence and being involved in that conversation. We need more people that are willing to open that up, and I encourage you all to be part of that as well. Again, you can find me right here, Thomas E. Hanna, and you can connect up with Katherine Fischer at Harbor House, and I will look forward to connecting with all of you again right here on Social Theory next week. We'll be sitting down with Ryan Hanley, and it'll be a new time for the next week, so pay attention, and I will see you all then.